Hey everyone, this is Miss 1776. Hopefully Rosales gets here soon, but if not, you guys, because we all know I suck at them. So you know what? Uh, um, I think it's just sit here and say a whole bunch of times. Okay, because 1984 is based on George Orwell tale set in a totalitarian society. Smith, who rebels against the oppressive regime, control. It delves into themes of government manipulation in a repressive. God help me. In a was writing the summary there. So here you guys go.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I...
Oh God.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for
Okay,
that is...
sorry guys. I guess you guys are not going to deal. There's like a lag on my computer or something.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future.
Or whatever. Any better? It looks like there's I don't know. There's like a lag on streaming. I'm not sure if that fixed it or not. We have kind of a full schedule. I didn't realize how. Anybody who's seen that movie, that movie's probably just not on the correct page. And I actually had it, so I had this, and here I am struggling to find exactly what I wrote. Okay, if I could fix this a little bit. Can you hear me? Is that better? So hopefully that doesn't cut out again. So, well, is it? I tried to twist it a little bit. Did that fix it at all? Because right now it looks like it's doing pretty okay. We're going to go ahead and start relating this to today. We're crazy. We're like the forced confession. Um, you know, and I'm pretty sure it's not Biden. Forced confessions. We forced to apologize that apparently society has deemed wrong, completely crazy. Like it's so woman as an adult female. That is just insanity. There's that. Let's see. The strong theme in here was destroying the family, and the one thing and just kind of even movies around this time, I've noticed a lot of that weird I would say like they don't want like they didn't want you to have the point. So I mean, you guys are just guys. I don't know, a date or something, and or maybe Cole, it's probably on your end actually. Cole, into this. Okay, so one of the weird things is a lot of this it was like with the sex where it was like, okay, we're all gonna get artificially inseminated, and it was just like, oh, so what I will say is, it's interesting that we're seeing is just this over sexualization, I would say. Probably turn up your thing, maybe. I would say that we are currently going through this. Oh, they assumed it was going to be, oh, well, the people aren't really for purpose to it. So, that is the one thing I think they do. That's how it's kind of almost being treated instead of stuff kind of thing, rather than what it was and bonding with your spouse. And it's been kind of a theme in some of these movies list here. So let's see. So public, like people getting excited for the public execution, which we do know that insane. However, the bits to see, the 36, what would you call them? James. However, again, that being a one-sided thing where we're only seeing it on one couple times, and we're just treating it as what. But we see people glued to the TV, wanting to see just people just they did something illegal or not. We don't even care what the like prosecuted. That just seems like another big thing. And I guess that was another thing is that people to where they're snitching on people, they're ratting people. Thought crimes, that was a big thing. Like just thought crimes are getting ratted out for just saying something wrong, wording something wrong, and from the beginning you see he's like Parsons, where he's his best to uh he's in the outer party, and then there's the inner party who believes everything that the inner party tells him. He believes that there is this Eurasia, and then it switches to no, I'm sorry. It said that they were at war. You guys are gonna rake me over the coals for that. That's right. Sorry, Eurasia. So first they were at war with Eurasia, and then they're at war with East Asia, and they're being told we never have the main character went titles, like the titles of the newspaper, and it was saying how like, okay, chocolate is down, are going down from, I think it was like 30 grams or whatever it was, and then 30 ounces or something. And so then they had fixed the title and said, oh, well, so then, Parsons is like, he's totally fine with them going down to, so just totally into that mindset. Daughter ends up reporting for thought crime. And he even said, I committed a thought crime. Like I must have been, he, oh gosh, uh, I must have been so good at this that I didn't even know it gets carted off. And we've actually seen that in our own. And shoot, I think like J.K. Rowling, they're a little bit different because they actually ran with this. So they instead, there was another person, I think was it that Dave Chappelle, and he kind of came backtrack. I'm pretty sure it was Patton Oswalt. Correct me in the comments if I'm. Oh shoot, I didn't know I couldn't say that, and you're so I mean we are seeing this movie out of the really stuck out to me as being the one that's really shockingly accurate. Hope you're having a good one. Thank you for stopping. Flying solo tonight, so guys, uh, big brow. So let's go back uh, down. So there's also point the statement. That's a big one that we are also seeing today. War, where we were all against war. We need to go to war with these people. We need to go to war with that people. Uh, I'm not sure what. Oh. That was. Sorry, guys. For the break. Be able to make it. My lame jokes and puns for the night and my side. So just so you guys know, you guys are stuck with me. Calm, cool collectedness and ability to back to some of these points. So the wars, warmongers, I'm saying, like, and obviously the warmongers to now it's switched over to there's the rest of us kind of sitting here going, how did this freedom is slavery? I can't tell you guys how many times I freedom with DUMB, like calling it be free when you should be safe, you should be this, you should be that. And so yeah, there is that mentality of offend someone. So, you know, uh is strength. Yeah, we've seen a lot of that. You cannot say you cannot you cannot talk about the biology of men, of women. Insane to the point where people think that if they take estrogen or testosterone, children, before we even go through puberty, our sex is very easily determined. It can very easily detect. This is what 1984 is. YouTube is 1980. What channel you did? Let's see, cool. So I asked Multi-Topic to watch some of your streams to check if it was coming off for him to do, and it was. Don't know if it is for you. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, I'm seeing it, the sound, and I don't know if it's just me and how I talk, because let's face it, I say a lot. I cut out a lot because I have to pause to think what the heck I'm going to say. So, I mean, it is what it is, guys. All I can say is to anybody who watches this later on, after it's, I'm really sorry, guys, that how the quality is. For Cole, suck it up. Sorry. Everybody knows here how I am with Cole, so it is what it is with Cole. And talk about the biology of men or women. Yeah, Jada would hate that. And then, oh yeah, okay, so it's not working. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what to do or how to fix this. I can't really. I don't know. um, let's see. If you can't fix this, all right. This sucks. Is all it's cutting out some of your awesome rants. Although I will say mostly fixed now. When you pull off my comment, yeah. Well, maybe that is. I mean, God, I'm sorry, guys. It's not like I could restart the video. I mean, I'd love to restart it, but I'm 17 minutes in, and I mean, let's face it, I'm a small channel, and I love my little small live chat groups that I have. I love that I could name everybody who watches this usually. So, I'm pretty sure this isn't going to get any. My channel is not going to blow up anytime soon. So, hopefully, you guys will just suffer along with me, and you guys won't rake me over the coals too bad once once you guys get over to Discord. So anyways, back to some of the points. So what was I saying? They say ignorance is strength. Yeah, ignorance is strength now. One of the funniest things I think in here, or I don't even know if it's funny, scary, however you want to take it, was the 2 + 2 = 5. I mean, we've literally seen people try to argue that 2 + 2 = 5 now. That is terrifying. Thank you guys. Thanks for letting me know that it's going well. But that is a terrifying thought that actually, because that was just seen as such an absurd thing to like anybody would ever say 2 + 2 = 5. It's such a crazy thing for us to conceptualize that would ever be forced. And here we actually see that in today's society. That is weird. So yeah, ignorance is straight. I mean, shoot, we are seeing people get pushed through high school before they can even, have all the required skills they need. Like, I think it's like their writing and reading skills. It's like that's that's so cruel to push someone. Why aren't we doing continued education? Why are we letting people graduate? Kids, let me rephrase that. Why are we letting kids regraduate without knowing the basics for their life? That's not a caring society to me. Is if you could push a child through, give them a certificate, and they don't even know the basics to help them get through life. That just sounds like that to me is just evil. That there is something wrong with that. And to teach some of the things that we in this country teach, when we don't even make sure that our children are prepared for life, then there is something wrong. There is something wrong and evil in that. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about when I say teaching some of the things that we teach. It's wrong. It is wrong. And again, you can't even say what those things are. But back to my long list of things. Okay, so there was another interesting part of this. There was a pretending to go with the party. So we saw like a lot of yeah, exactly, big bro. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it is sad. And I do have hope that there are going to be others who help those in that generation who want to learn and need help and want those life skills. I mean, I know that I mean, shoot, I think I'm going to say shoot like 30 times tonight. Um, I can't remember what his name, but they famous Amos, the guy who did Famous Amos, he's the one who came up with classes to help adults for adult illiteracy, to help them, learn to read and everything. He's like a so I mean, we need more people like that. That's what's going to fix, I think, this generation. It's not going to be the government. Our government is not going to fix it. It doesn't matter at this point if our government is red or blue. It's not going to fix it. Who's going to fix this country is going to be us. We have to roll our sleeves up. Hey WZ, how you doing? Hi Mike. Oh, I'm happy to see you here. Those new things the schools teach are completely inappropriate. Yeah, exactly, Mike. They are so inappropriate to teach. And I think it always cracks me up when these parents go and they read those books and during what are those things? Not PTA meetings, but the school board meetings, and suddenly then they don't want to hear what's in the book. I'm like, oh, but you'll subject children who don't belong to this. And I know sometimes people argue with me that teens aren't children. Well, yes, they are children. Okay, get a little older and you'll start looking at teens like children, because they are. So anyways, let me get off my soapbox again here. Let's go back to where we were. Oh yeah, the pretending to go at the party. So I did think that was interesting. So we see Winston Smith and Julia. So Winston Smith is our protagonist, and Julia is his love interest. And in the beginning, we see her really kind of getting into the rally, because they have to go to this weird indoctrination thing where they watch this video of this war thing. Then the war's not happening, guys. That's the scary thing, is that the war is not actually happening, and yet they're being told that there's this war happening, and the war was supposed to be a 3-year plan, but then it's like a 9-year plan, and they're doing it because they realize, oh, we can keep everybody under control this way when there's that fear of war going on. So there's a scene where after they kind of connect and they end up having a rendezvous, and then they kind of keep meeting each other and they're in love with each other, but they have to kind of keep up this facade. One of the things that was interesting was we had always seen her kind of screaming and yelling and being like, oh yeah, forget those whatever, like booing all the resistance and everything. But what we see is that, okay, behind the scenes, that's not actually how they feel. Behind the scenes, she's talking, or she's vocalizing how the inner party has all these like all these goods that everybody else is getting rationed, and little, I'm just getting like, oh, we only get like these little tiny portions, basically kind of almost getting starved. Whereas you're seeing, like, she brings the contraband to share with Winston at one point, and it's like the coffee, the tea, the sugar, like real sugar, bread, it was like real bread, and it was jam and all these other things. And it was like interesting to see them pretending, like, here they are pretending to be part of this, while in secret they didn't really buy into it. They no longer believed in it. They didn't feel it. And I feel like there are a lot of us out there. I do feel like, because I mean, shoot, we've heard people where they come out and they say, hey, look, especially women. There's so many women where they come out in private and they'll tell someone like Riley Gaines. They'll come and tell Riley Gaines, or they'll tell J.K. Rowling. They'll come to them in private and say, hey, thank you for doing this, because we agree with you, but we're scared that we're going to lose this, this, and this. So that's the other thing, is just because you see sometimes this loud majority, that's not reality. And I do have to keep on saying, and I know, like I said, this is going to be heavily tied into this week. And, if anybody wants to know what this week is, I'm sure you can go figure out from my previous video and my new video that will be coming out on this Sunday. But I'm sure for the rest of you that are on Twitter, probably know what week this is. And, I'm tying this back into that, there are so many women out there that do not like what is going on, and yet what's happening is because they are being silenced and told that they're not allowed to speak out against these things, or they're going to get canceled, they're going to get fired. they are going to be shamed. They are going to receive all kinds of nasty threats, whatever. Because of that, there are many that are afraid to speak out. And what's happening is now we're seeing these people go, oh, well, see, women must be fine with all this because they're not speaking out. And that's not true. Because what's happening is anytime they're speaking out, they're going through all of that. So that is the truth. And that is something we need to look at in society, and it's interesting they don't want to put it to like, a vote. Why not vote on it? Let me get to your thing, Mike. Yes, yeah, exactly. Right in the vote, it is a riot when a pastor reads it to the school board. Yeah. Nicole, the government is going to fix everything once Kanye is in office. Yeah, once Kanye is in office. There's a funny meme about that. Cole, I'll take Kanye over Biden. I would too, big bro. I would totally pick Kanye over Biden. Big bro, I'll take OJ Simpson over Biden, Trump, and Trudeau. Oh, you guys are too funny. You guys are nuts. Um, but but yeah, exactly. I don't know. Okay, so 1984 reminds me a lot of like what people are forced to do to each other in North Korea. Yeah, exactly. And really in any dictatorship, just that being forced to rat each other out, to lie to each other. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere. No, I'm not gonna say it because if I say it on here, I don't know. YouTube might have ties to North Korea, and then I might get a knock at the door. You never know, guys. Um, so I should probably go back into this summary just briefly. I know, sorry for the groans, because I know you guys hate my summaries sometimes. But the whole story is following Winston Smith. Through it, he has a contraband uh diary that he's writing everything in there. He talks about his thought crimes, that they can't talk about anything. He As he's going through his life, you see just kind of the misery around the area. The things aren't how they're supposed to be. How the changing of the headlines. They talk about having a dictionary, and there's a scene where one of his friends talks about how, like, oh, they're shrinking the dictionary so that there's less and less words, and soon you won't have to, it'll just automatically come out. You won't even the words won't come from your mind; they'll just automatically come from your mouth. And I wrote down the quote in here somewhere. It was pretty insightful, guys. So shoot, maybe you guys might just have to go watch the movie yourself if you haven't already seen it. But it was basically something to the effect of, if you can control the definitions, or it was like basically altering the definitions to then alter your speech to then alter your mind, was basically the thing. And you know what? Again, tying it back to this week, that is what we are seeing. That is what we are seeing when it comes down to not being able to define words. Words have no meaning. Racist has no meaning. Sexist has no meaning. Transphobia has no meaning. Homophobia has no meaning. All those words have no meaning anymore. We have it's anything, anybody I don't like, or it's like that. Anybody I don't like fits the istophobe. Anybody fits that. Shoot, I think I saw someone called a racist, and like what? Or I don't know, a racist, or was something random. Oh, I know. I'm sorry. She was called a misogynist, or no, a sexist misogynist, and all she was doing was sticking up for women. Yeah, someone explained that one to me. That was a weird one. Um, Mike, I have the same thoughts about the 1984 dictionary project. Shrink the language and control the thoughts. Yeah, exactly. Big bro, you should run for office, Miss 1776. Yeah, that's really sweet, big bro. I would, it's like sometimes you have to know your limitations, and I don't know if I want us to have good leaders. And my problem would be I would probably rule with an iron fist. I can really admit I would rule with an iron fist. So it is best that I don't have power, and instead I am someone who calls out people. Um, but it's not that I would rule with an iron fist out of dislike. It's because I love you guys, which doesn't help either, because I'm sure there are people who rule with an iron fist and think that it's out of love too. I don't think the lefties know what phobia means. No, I don't think they do. I don't think a lot of people know what words mean anymore. Uh, but back to the summary. One of the things was there's a behind the whole scene. It was always Goldstein was this bad guy. Goldstein was the bad guy. He was the one leading the resistance. And then uh, after the couple gets caught, and they get caught by the guy who sold uh, Winston the diary, he had actually kind of tricked him. So what he was like a kind of a secret agent or a double agent, where he ran a store and then he kind of would talk people into buying stuff or say, "Oh, you want this?" to see if they were going to be part of the resistance or if they were going to be, just regular everyday. Oh yeah, we are all totally brainwashed. And then he offered him a room to rent for like $4 a week. And so then what happens is, Winston brings Julia, and he and her, like, they obviously have a relations, a lot of relations, and they tell each other they love each other, and they talk to each other, and they're very emotional and connected and everything. And then what happens is it turns out there was a double, like I said, it was not double agent, but yeah, the guy was a spy. There's a camera in there, and they catch Winston and arrest them. And then earlier, because I already forgot that thing when I was talking about the shrinking of the dictionary, there's another dude who is in the inner party, and he tells Winston that he has a dictionary for him. That's the new dictionary. And when Winston gets it and he opens it, he notices that there's pages that are kind of stuck together. And when he opens them, he realizes that there's a secret book in it. And then later on, um, when Winston is, and Julia, they're held separately and they're in jail and they're interrogating and re-educating Winston. He at first, at one point, thinks the guy's name was O'Brien. He thinks that he was, oh, they caught you too, but it turns out no, they didn't. That he was actually part of it, and that he actually, there was no Goldstein. That all these inter party people were using that to kind of get out all the free thinkers, to get them out. And then once they got the free thinkers, they just basically melted their minds through torture and everything. And in the movie, I know with the book and the movie seem like they differ a little bit. It sounds like in the book that they live. In the movie, it sounds like, okay, that they get publicly executed too. I mean, they don't show it. That it shows him at a bar or whatever, waiting, and with his forced confession. And his confession sounds actually legitimate, because what happened was they did. They actually were able to crack him and break him and brainwash him. Although there's one last scene where he meets up with Julia again, and when you see her say, they both tell each other, "Oh yeah, I ratted on you. I ratted on you. Told everybody, what you were doing and stuff." Um, she says something about meeting up again, and then you see kind of hope on his face, like, oh, like an excitement, and looking at her and this. So you see that they weren't able to totally break him, as and I do. There's a scene when they are trying to break him where he talks about someone will, that basically it boiled down to evil can't snuff out good, and evil can't snuff out free will, and that someone will eventually come and make things right, and put things back on track. Evil can't last forever. And guys, that is so true, that evil cannot last forever. It will not last forever. And I know, a lot of people here have different faiths. Big Bro, I'll be there with you. I would be your bodyguard. Oh, Big Bro, you would be the best bodyguard too. Okay, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. If I can keep my powers in check. Um, but I know everybody has a different background, and obviously, I love you all, I care about you, and if I didn't love you and I didn't care about you, I wouldn't talk about this. But look, guys, I am Christian. I am fallen. I have fallen short. So I will never ever be the example. Don't ever look to me as the gold standard. See, that's, I think, a lot of problems. Sometimes a lot of Christians will say and act like they're the gold standard, and they're not. They should be pointing you to the gold standard, which is Christ. Um, but evil does lose at the end of the day, no matter what happens. Don't ever lose heart, and don't ever lose faith, and don't ever lose hope, guys, because there is going to come a day. We are not going to live in this corrupt world forever. The corruptness can't last forever. Now, I really hope that gets to some people, because I know that there are some people out there who really struggle with that, or even have had their own bouts with, evil and corruption, and I just want you guys to know it. No matter what happens, it's gonna be okay. It all works out. You know, everything works out. All things work out. So don't lose hope, guys, because I know we are in for some crazy times. I don't know when or if we will ever see a return to normalcy where we get to see males are males and women are women. Or I don't know if we're going to see that come back again. But we don't have to fall down and we don't have to believe that. And I think that's one of the things that this movie really shows you, that we shouldn't, even when the world falls, but we shouldn't. We still have to stand. And there was a part in the movie where I'm going to hop back and forth on this movie, but there's a part where Julia and Winston are staring out the window and they see this woman out there, and she's like overweight and older, and they had seen her a couple times. And Winston had talked about how the way she sang a song that was obviously written by the government or whatever was so beautiful. And he talked about later, like how, she's living, she's the future. And it's because, again, there's hope. She had hope. She didn't just wallow in it. And she was, part of the proletariat, which, so it was almost like a 3-tier system. There was the inner party, the outer party, which is where we see Julia and Winston, and then the proletariat, the working class. And they're the ones who, they're talked about as if they're animals. And before, in the outer, not the inner party, but in the outer party, they're the ones who are getting the books and getting all this crazy indoctrination and stuff. And uh back to the scene with the dictionary where they were or when his friend Stein was talking about, oh, how words were getting changed and how it was a good thing. uh there's a scene where he was saying, oh yeah, soon conversations like this won't exist. And so I believe it was Smith who said, except for, with the proletariat. And then of course I can't remember if it was Parsons or Stein who said, oh well, they're animals, calling the working class animals. But the irony being that, well, they're the ones who were thinking for themselves. Animals don't think for themselves. You can train an animal, you can, you know animals are pretty obedient and everything like that. They don't really have that free mindset the way that we have ours. And it was just odd. It's just switched. And let's see if I'm let's see if I'm forgetting. I did want to go over the beginning quote in the movie because I thought that was really uh interesting, or really kind of, it stuck with me. And it really hit me. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. And tell me that's not pretty accurate today. I mean, we've seen that now in multiple areas. And one of the things is we see it with I mean, I'm not too familiar with how do I phrase this? How do I say this? I'm not super familiar with the whole Stonewall movement. And see, my dog had plenty of her own thoughts when it came to food. Yeah, well, yeah, I'll give you that. When it's animals and food, yeah. um, but we already see. I guess, what, I'm not going to use that example. In fact, I'm going to use my own personal example. Uh, One of the things that I've already seen is this big thing where they talk about the Trump inauguration and how they were or I think Whoopi Goldberg had said something when Biden had got elected or whatever, that she's like, oh, basically you guys need to the conservatives or people who didn't want Biden in. She was like, oh, you guys need to act like we did for the past 4 years, suck it up and deal with it. And I was like, going, you really want us to set things on fire, like, and have riots? Because I don't think you want us to set things on fire and have riots. And it's like, how easy they forget. I didn't forget because I was there, but I was at the inauguration in 2016. I saw them setting garbage cans on fire. Okay, I saw the craziness going on, and thankfully my grandpa was there with me. So it wasn't anything I had to be afraid of because, like I said, like I had my grandpa there. No one was going to mess with him. No one's going to mess with us. But it's like I was there, and they already have tried to erase that. They tried to erase. Now they try to make it sound like there's more protesters there than there were Trump supporters, and that's not true. It was a big wave, you know. I mean, again, guys, I live in a liberal area. I know what it's like to be outnumbered. For once, I was somewhere where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not outnumbered. You know, that is shocking to me. You know, I'm so used to being like, you know, on the fringes here. Um, you know, so I've already seen within my own lifetime people try to change history that I witnessed. They are doing that. So don't let people trick you. When you've seen something or witnessed something, don't let people get away with changing reality, because that is the danger. And I believe that was also kind of a theme, was during the re-education thing, was that the individual was when O'Brien was torturing Winston, he said the individual is not the one who has reality. Reality is controlled by the majority and the party. Specifically, he meant the party and whatever the party felt everybody should go by for reality. That is terrifying, because reality is actually just reality. There is no my truth, your truth. There could be a my side, your side, my opinion, my view, your view, my perspective, your perspective. But there is only one truth. There's only one truth, guys. There's only one reality. That's it. There is no, that again, I'm going to go ahead and put out there. There are different life experiences, but reality is still reality, guys. And that was like, that's a big thing. And that is what we're also seeing manipulated and told us, like, again, 2 + 2 is 5. It's not. They didn't deal with Trump's presence very well. There wasn't enough therapy talks and coloring books to go around. No, yeah, they did not. Um, yeah, so yeah, no, they did not deal with it well. I'll tell you. I mean, I don't even know if I could tell the story, because like a woman tried to like. Okay, I say this. I say this. When I was at the inauguration, people like to pay for their own things too. Uh, there was like a couple sections, and in fact, my aunt took a couple pictures. There was this one section. It was really cool. It was like where everybody kind of mixed, and it was both people who were there in support and against, or protesting or whatever. We were all in kind of almost like this like this Times Square, this public Times Square. It was like really kind of interesting. So we're all there, we're all talking, we're all debating each other. I guess I had a time lapse picture of me having a group around me, and then it slowly, slowly disappearing. I'm like, what? You guys don't want to listen to the facts? But anyways, that's the topic. Um, so there was the one there that I was arguing with, and she went on to the subject of Planned Parenthood, and my feeling for Planned Parenthood is that it should not be publicly funded. Because there are people who are not comfortable funding that, and so their tax dollars shouldn't go to fund that. And so, of course, the argument goes, oh well, the taxpayers' money is going to this, and this is going to this. I'm like, well, no, because whatever money's not going to here, you're able to save for this. So instead, what you need to do is just privately have it funded. I'm sure that there is enough people who support this who will fund this for you. And she didn't like that, and so she tried to say, and this is the one thing where I'm going, how did you get from here to here, lady? She tried to like basically grab me, because she's like, well, how would you like if I grabbed you? And I'm like, first off, that's not what Trump said, lady. It was basically they wanted, it was like they let you, as in, yeah, it was a consensual thing. What you're trying to do to me is not consensual. But I was going to say something. I was like, no, so I'm going to catch that takeout thing, and I'm going to get arrested for saying it. But I just I'll just call the cops on you. But anyways, that's how crazy people are. Let's go somewhere with that story. These people are insane. People are insane. Don't let them change history, and people make illogical leaps too in these arguments too. So also hold people to their argument sometimes, guys, because they will get like crazy out there. So let's see if there's anything else. So in the beginning of the movie, going back to the beginning, there was a part where they had like the lady doing the voiceover announcer or whatever, and she says, okay, things that weren't allowed. So innuendos weren't allowed. Oh, and transient, which is the unwillingness or refusing to change one's view or to agree about something. Inversion, reversal of position. So I thought those were really interesting. Those are not allowed because actually we do see that today again, not being allowed. You cannot be staunchly anything against whatever the thing is. I guess the thing of the month is. You cannot be no. This is it. You must be able to move. However, if you agree with those things, you are not allowed to change. And one of the things I thought was interesting about the brainwashing, when they were trying to get him to get brainwashed, it wasn't that they wanted him to lie to them and say, so when he's asking what's 2 + 2. So at one point he told him, when I think he has him on a stretcher, and he's holding up how many fingers are there? He's like 4, but he wants him to say 5. So he's like, he goes, okay, so now how many fingers do I have? He was like, once he's trying to say 5, whatever you want. But that wasn't the right answer. They wanted him to be so tortured and in fear and lose his mind so much. Like, because at one point when he finally says he doesn't know how many fingers are up, that was closer to the answer they were looking for. So he's like, okay, good, we're getting there. And then it was to the point where it's like, no, I want you to be able to, like they said, I want you to be able to believe whatever I tell you. If I tell you that this number is 5, you need to believe it, not just be in fear of it, in fear of saying 4, but you need to believe it in your heart that it is 5, and I've told you the correct number. If I turn it to 3, then you need to believe that. Because then we saw that again with the newspaper when it was, at first they were at war with Eurasia and East Asia with their allies, and then a little bit later they decided to switch it and said East Asia we're at war with, Eurasia is our ally, and it's always been that way. That is another thing that I've seen a lot, where it's always been that way, and you're sitting going, well, no, it hasn't always been this way. A couple of different things we've seen it where it's like, oh, well, no, it's always been this way. And you're saying, well, I don't recall. Like I said, remember your history. Talk to older people too, guys. Go and talk to older people and let them tell you history. Learn history from them, because those history books are going to get changed. I've seen them change. I've seen them change. We've seen things change. And one of the things too, and this is going to be a fun topic here, but I mean, Marvel, I think two history type things that they tried to change, and it was like, nothing bothers me more than when someone rewrites history. And it's okay to, like, okay, when we do historical fictions, there's something when something is set up as a historical fiction, and then there's another when it's set up to confuse you and lie to you about actual historical events. So you could tell when something is, and it could be within the same movie, even in a fiction movie. You could tell when, okay, this was set up to actually say this is truth in reality. This is actually nonfiction, and nothing bothers me more than that, because I don't like confusing, one, people, two, especially children. Who's going to see the MCU movies? Mostly children. I mean, yes, I know. Okay, I know adults. A lot of people take their kids, but it's like, I don't like lying about history. And we did see that, and I did not like it, and especially because sometimes things that are happening in history are more how they happen and what happened. They teach us lessons on what we need to do in the future, what we need to not do in the future, how to avoid certain things, and sometimes it's a lesson in, what, not everything is always black and white, or sometimes we see evil on both sides. And I will say this, just because you see someone do something bad, someone do something wrong, doesn't give someone else to do that wrong too. And I think people get that confused. It's not a competition of wrongs. It should just be, hey, let's see this whole picture so we know what not to do. It's like, I'm not going to bring it up too much here, but it's like how I usually get into it with the feminists. I get it into it with the red pillars, where it's like this tit for tat and tit for tat, and it's like, it doesn't have to be tit for tat. We don't have to go, well, you did this and I did this and you did this and now I have to do this. It could also just be, hey, we're hurting each other. Why don't we just stop? Why don't we just see what actually caused this? Now we can learn from this. This is bad behavior on both sides from this, and let's just come together. Let's not fight each other. And I think that's a big part of this movie, is it's this, let's not fight each other, this infighting. And I gotta say this, I'm guilty of this. Just know, guys, I know Yeah, like I said, I do not walk on water. I have done so many bad things. I have a bad attitude. Let's face it. I can get very aggressive, you know. And so again, I know I have these things too. So when I say these things, I'm not saying you do this because I'm going to lay back and not. I'm saying I know I'm guilty of these things too. But it's something I think that's important to bring to attention, to everyone's attention, as well as mine, as well as being a reminder to myself. Because I will say, one of the things that I've really enjoyed is knowing you guys and knowing that many of you have different political beliefs than me, and I still love you guys, and then you guys still love me, even though you guys give it to me hard in the live chat sometimes. I know we still care about each other because I know deep down all of us want what's best for this country. Maybe we have a different way of going about it. Maybe we, you know, uh, have things that concern us more than others. But I know that at the end, we still all care about each other and this country and wanting what's best. And I don't want to see something evil tear us apart. I don't think we should be torn apart anymore. And I don't like seeing all this division in this country. I don't like being it man versus. It shouldn't be man versus woman. And oh, hi, Michael. Hope you're doing good. I'm so happy to stop by. Thank you. And thank you, Big Bro. You're so sweet. Aw, you flatter me. Um, but we don't have to be in this tit for tat anymore. And I really just urge you guys to go watch this movie. It was eye opening to me. It's creepy. I know I've said it a bunch of times tonight. There's no words. There's not enough words to put in to describe, I guess, how unsettling this movie was to me watching it now. Um, it was really unsettling to me. I mean, it was freaky to see. Okay, this is happening. Maybe not obviously not to the extreme. We are not publicly, like I said, we're not publicly doing public executions, but we are in public trials. We are jailing people for things that are wrong, like things that we're not jailing others for. You know, like for insanity things, for some things that are just in some countries there actually have been thought crimes. There have been people who just posted simply something about biology and now they're under threat of going to jail. Those are cases that are happening today. And some, I wish I could remember which countries, so I'm not going to say, but they are in going on in some countries in Europe. I mean, shoot, there was a girl who, not trying to insult the officer, just said, oh, wondered if the officer was a lesbian because she looked like her nan, who was a lesbian. It wasn't in an insulting way, and she got arrested. So there are those weird thought crimes that are going on today. That is scary. Like I said, at least we haven't gotten to the public execution side of it. But I mean, we have seen some of this stuff. It is weird. And you know what? I'm going to go back to the rations things because I feel like I see that with Newsom. Not that he's rationing, but like, you know what? Actually, I'll relate it back to the air conditioning thing. When we were all dying of heat exhaustion in our house because supposedly we were supposed to be the state that's all all up to date on all this fancy stuff. We're supposed to have like the most high tech things, and yet we can't keep the lights on, like someone said. Someone made the joke of, it was a hot summer, and then there's Newsom in his cold building, and then of course came up with some weird excuse. He's a great politician, guys. I tell you, that guy, the slickest politician you'll ever meet. He has an excuse for everything, But again, hold his feet to the fire in the sense of don't don't forget his actions. I'll say it to any Californians here: don't forget his actions because he is one of the best dudes to be able to lie and get out of something. Same with Pelosi. Those two, they can twist their words whichever way, and I could see where people, if you're not paying attention, would buy it because they got. Look at how they acted during COVID. Look at how they went and ran around and enjoyed, life while the rest of us in California were locked down and punished, and in some cases lost their businesses while they went out and had fun. And I gotta just say this to people too, because I mean, it reminds me of that poor guy in here, the one who was willing to buy into everything that the government was saying, just because, uh, just because he was being told it, and he wanted to be so like just part of it. And oh yeah, they couldn't steer me wrong. Um, shoot, I'm just gonna go somewhere with that. Oh, no, remember, you are valuable, guys, and you go read that in declaration. You are valuable. You have value. Your soul has worth, and no one is above the law. These people are not above the law. They are not better than you. If anything, they're supposed to be civil servants. They're supposed to be listening to you. We, one of the things that I've always fell in love with law. One of the biggest things that just made me just in awe of it was when I realized, and just sitting there, was we the people. When it's we the people versus so and so, because why that's such a powerful thing is when someone commits a crime, you're not committing a crime against the government. You're not committing a crime against um, a king or a queen, you know, or even a country. We the people means you are committing a crime against us, the people. When someone is harmed, it hurts all of us, the people. The people. So really feel the power in that. We the people. We matter. We matter more than these elites. We do, guys. Or just keep that in mind. They're not better than us. I think that's the problem, is people just feel like beaten down, and they don't realize they're not any better than you. They can't even run the country better than you. I mean, look at how they run our country into the dirt, and you're going to sit there and think that they're better than us and that they're better at running things. They're showing that they're not. I want that to sink in, and I want that to light a fire in you guys. I want you guys to realize, don't ever let someone tell you don't have worth. Because again, I can't stress this enough, but your souls have so much worth. You have so much worth. And forget anybody saying that you're not important. Okay. And it doesn't even matter what your position is in life, too. You know what? I'm going to take it even back to jobs. It doesn't matter what your job is, too. You know, yes, we need doctors. Doctors are awesome. Farmers are awesome. Jobs, having a job, that's awesome. And, yes, we sometimes jobs come with prestige, and that's good. That's okay. But that still doesn't, when it boils down to, is that still doesn't change the value of your soul. I just can't stress that enough, because I think sometimes people don't realize that. Um, when seeing the movie, I thought this couldn't happen here, and to my dismay, we are seeing 1984 and other dystopian films, because reality, it is scary. It is, Mike, and it is incredible. I mean, things that were fiction not that long ago have now come around. Um, Cole, matter more than Putin. You're such a weirdo, Cole. Um, but I did want to bring up one interesting fact. I know I didn't have unfortunately Rosales couldn't make it tonight. He'll make it to the next one though. But I did want to bring up something, since Rosales always spoils us. He totally spoils us with facts about the movie. And I thought what was kind of cool was that this movie was, because the book is set in London from April of 1984 to June of 1984. So this movie was filmed in London from during the time period of April 1984 to June 1984. So I thought that was like a kind of a cool little tidbit I wanted to throw out there. Um, so guys, you've been an awesome live chat as always. Always appreciate you guys here. You guys have been so well. Thank you guys for putting up with my tech issues, my mic issues earlier. Thank you guys for adding so much to the comments, adding so much to the conversation. Like I said, I could not do this stream without you. I would be just yelling into screaming into the ethers. I would have had no layout, and let's face it, that would have made no sense. I would have just been rambling about, no one knows what. What'd you say, Cole? Thank you so much for kind words, and that is true. People put too much focus in academic grades and society and jobs instead of everything else. Very true, Cole. And thank you, Mike. Thank you for talking. Anytime, guys. Anytime you guys want to hear me rant, I'm so touched that you guys, didn't blow off my first solo. I guess maybe I won't be so afraid to do solos now. Now that I got through this first one. But I am going to close it with something, and I know there's going to be some groans in the audience. I know that you guys are groaning at home, and I don't care. But I do want to say, I hope I was able to relate it enough to today. I really think I went through most of my points. I will say, uh, MSK stream, I think I think his stream started at 7:30. Ooh, I'm late. Okay, I'm late for his stream, guys, so my bad. But go watch him on Rumble. Another guy again kicked off for uh, you know, speaking his mind. And here's the other thing. I'm not gonna sit here and say what he said was how do I phrase this? How do I phrase this the right way? Um, I don't always agree with what people say. I do believe that they have the right to say it. And I will say that there are many times where I don't like what someone says, and I just do this fancy thing. I know it goes. I know it's like crazy, but I like to do this thing where I just click off or turn off when I don't like what someone's saying. When they've gotten to the point, I'm like, okay, this is annoying, this is offensive, this is just babble, whatever. You know, if it really gets to that point, guys, move on. And not you guys in my live chat, because I know you guys are awesome, but I just mean like just for other people who just get so offended that they feel like they need to mass report. Because here's the thing, just like that poor guy in 1984 who thought he was doing everything right and by the book, trying to stay in the good graces of the inner party, and then yet got in trouble for thought crime. I mean, it comes for you too. It comes for everybody. No one is untouchable. When we get into a society like that, no one is untouchable. And the sad thing is, you don't have to be guilty of it. That is what's crazy. You don't even have to be guilty of it. That Parsons guy wasn't guilty of it. He didn't do anything. He misspoke. He was taking something out of it's taken out of terms. It almost didn't matter what he did. All that mattered is that they decided to deem him guilty. So that is something to remember too, is that no one is untouchable when you get these crazy governments. But here's the thing, and again, back to our declaration, we are not set up that way. So we should not let that go. We do not have to sit and watch that go. We don't have to sit here and watch everything we love destroyed, all our freedoms destroyed. We don't have to do that. Remember that, guys. We don't have to sit back. And no matter how bad it gets, we still don't have to sit back. We don't have to sit back. We don't have to live that life. No matter what, we can have hope. And let's say, God forbid we ever get to like a situation where it's that dire in 1984. If that ever happens, guys, you still have a soul and you still have hope, okay? And life is still precious. Remember that. Those are important things to remember, okay? And love is important, because that was another big theme, was trying to separate people so that way they didn't have families and friends, and said that the only love they had was for their government. And one, that's really sad, but so have hope, love God, love your friends, love your spouse, love your family, love your children, have children and love your children, have ties, because those are the things that sometimes really shake us up, to know that there's things that are worth fighting for. And you guys are worth fighting for, and that is why I'm also here, because you guys out there are worth fighting for. And I know that I keep rambling on, and I know that most of my audience is men. Well, it kind of goes back and forth sometimes, but it seems like usually it's mostly men. So especially to you men out there, because as much as I get on the red pillars, which I know that you guys are, or at least you're not like the psycho ones. You guys matter. You guys are so important, and you are so needed, and you are so loved. I love you guys. Okay, I really do love you guys. Okay, so you matter. You're important. Don't ever forget those things. And most importantly, God loves you. But let me see. Yes, and Mike says, have courage. Yeah, have courage, because when we don't have courage, the it's not that things are ever hopeless, but I will say it gets harder and harder to take back control when we let things get too far out of hand. So don't let things get out of hand. We don't have to. Don't be afraid of names. And I am going to wrap up. I know I keep running on. Miss 1776 is going to start running for president with political speeches now after this. I don't know if anybody would vote for me, Cole, and I wouldn't blame them. uh, uh, cool stream. Thank you, Big Bro. So I'm going to end it with this one. and so I'm going to say this, and then people are going to go, oh, okay. Let me preface it with this. I do not condone anything Alex Jones has done. He's done some weird things. He said some really weird things, and he's been really wrong on a lot of things. And I think it was wrong. I mean, obviously, yeah, that happened. So I'm also sitting here going, okay, we can't just get so out there on conspiracy theories sometimes where you just talk nonsense. So I'm just going to put that there. But the one thing I did love that he did coin, I believe he coined the phrase, is how to solve 1984 is with 1776, guys. So remember that, you know, how to solve this problem is a little 1776. So I'm going to close out with that one. See? Yeah, that was a nice slip in there. Okay. Take care, guys. Hopefully, I see you all soon. Take care. Love ya.